27-year-old Connie Mack and his Philadelphia Athletics played host to the pennant winners of the 1910-14 era, as well as the pennant winners of the 1929-31 period. Now let's go out to Shibe Park and watch the festivities, which included the first and probably the last tripleheader ever played in a Major League park. September the 10th was the date, and the fans were treated to two American League games between the Philadelphia Athletics and the Boston Red Sox, in addition to a three-inning contest between the stars of yesteryear. It was a drab, dismal day in Philadelphia, but not for 23,000 fans who attended this gala occasion. Their enthusiasm could not be dampened by the overcast skies. When, at 10 in the morning, Mr. Roy Mack, vice president of the Athletics, gave the sign to open the gates, the crowd began to appear. Through the gates, for a day of thrills and surprises. From far and near came the vast throngs to see the heroes of old and to give them the hearty applause they so richly deserved. Gaily decorated, both inside and out, Shibe Park took on a holiday appearance, and to make the old-timers feel right at home, the clock was turned back on the majesty of the law. Yes, sir, in the spirit of the day, the A's management left no stone unturned to give the fans the color and memories that was theirs in that early era. Some of the park employees were decked out in old-time policeman's garb, with those ancient high helmets and flowing mustaches, vivid reminders of the gay 90s. Note those sideburns. Nobody but a Clark Gable would risk wearing one of those mattresses these days. Some of the fans stop in amazement, especially the youngsters, who do not remember those gallant bulwarks. Ah, here's the chief himself, gold badge and all the trimmings. Is he proud? Well, here's one way to do police duty. Just sit down and take it easy and have them come to you. Step right in, girls, and join the crowd. A welcome home sign touches the hearts of the old-timers who have come miles as a guest of the Athletics management to renew old acquaintances. Some of these men have not seen or met each other since 1914 in the World Series. But this day will be long remembered, not only because it brought together former Mackmen, but because old fans came as well. Noted dignitaries were on hand, too. Among them, Commissioner Landis, President Bill Harridge of the American League, and Judge Harry S. McDevitt. Here's Mr. Mack greeting the old-timers as they take their seats to watch the young stars of today perform in the first game of the American League doubleheader between the A's and Red Sox. The wives of many of them are present also, looking on as they did of old. Here's a glimpse of the 1939 White Elephant. Along the line, we see Chubby Dean, Bob Johnson, Lynn Nelson. And in the next picture, we see Frankie Hayes, promising young catcher of Connie Mack's, donning his paraphernalia and getting ready to go behind the plate. The familiar cry of play ball is heard. The A's take the field, leaving their acting manager, Earl Mack, to watch the developments of today's strategy. We know the game is on, for the judge has assumed his familiar pose, chin resting on the box rail, with his eagle eyes focused on the diamond. With him are Mr. Mack, William Harridge, and Tom Conley, Dean of Umpires in the American League. The old-timers are getting a kick out of the game as they watch members of Connie Mack's championship team to come up. Keep your eyes on Chief Bender. The chief is giving the umpires a ride by shouting, "Get this game over and let some of the youngsters in here." Evidently, Bender wants to get out on the mound to flip a dipsy-doodle or two to the champions of 1929. All lined up now, the 1910 champions take on to the field. They're out to limber up their arms and legs. While in the boxes, old friends renew. The days have gone by. It's a great day for friends to meet and a great day for the autograph hounds. They've got Patty Livingston suffering from writer's cramp already. The fans look on with interest and try to pick out players they have not seen for perhaps 29 years. Moving toward the Athletics dugout, we pick up a great player and his son. The ball player is Eddie Collins Sr., and Junior is Eddie Collins. Young Eddie, late of Yale, is starting a Major League career with the A's, just as his distinguished father did during the first decade of the century. Look these players over. Harry Davis, Jack Barry, J. Franklin Baker, Eddie Collins, and Stuffy McGinnis. They go down in history as the famous $100,000 infield. And the next four that come up form the 1914 championship outfield. Eddie Murphy, Amos Strutt, Rube Oldring, and Danny Murphy all agree that this old-timers game is giving them a great thrill. The great pony battery of the 1913 World Series, Joe Bush and Wally Shang. The Giants of that year will never forget that fastball that gave Bush the nickname of Bullet Joe. Here's a pitching staff Connie Mack or any other manager would be glad to own today. Standing, Bender, Morgan, Coons, Brown, Pennant. Kneeling, Bush, Bressler, Rath, Kovaleski. Two of baseball's greatest personalities step forth, Connie Mack and Judge Landis. The judge brings a smile to Connie's face as he congratulates him on the success of the occasion, and into the picture steps President Will Harridge of the American League. These three symbolize the character, integrity, and high standard that the national pastime has enjoyed down through the years. Here's a handshake that will long be remembered by everyone who attended the Old Timers Affair. Connie Mack takes the microphone, and as he looks around the grandstand and sees so many old friends, he remarks, "Happy days are here again." Then he continues and introduces the commissioner, Kennesaw Mountain Landis. The judge is a bit slow stepping up, but once he gets there, certainly knows how to hold on to that microphone. The judge expresses joy at being on hand, but refuses to be classed as an old bird. Following the judge, we have another judge, Judge McDevitt, standing next to Connie Mack. He takes over to introduce Ira F. Thomas. In the meantime, Roy Mack prepares to present the specially designed gold ring. Ira Thomas calls the 1914 lineup as each player steps up to receive his award. Hattie Livingston acknowledges the plaudits of the crowd. Herb Pennock, one of the American League's great left-handers who pitched under Connie Mack, comes forth. Other pitchers to come before our eyes are Carroll Brown, Stan Kovaleski, Cy Morgan, famous spitball ace, Dave Danforth. Next in line is Maury Rath. And behind him comes the great Indian, Chief Bender, the great bunny pitcher of his day, and still active in baseballs. Following him comes another teammate, Jack Coombs, who never lost a World Series game, and is now present coach at Duke University. Joe Bush, who can still cut the corners. Rube Bressler. And next in line, that great second baseman, Eddie Collins, at present vice president and business manager of the Boston Red Sox. Third baseman Home Run Baker steps into the picture, the Babe Ruth of the early decade, and his teammate at shortstop was Jack Barry, who has turned out many stars from Holy Cross College. First baseman Harry Davis is the next man up. He held the home run honors before Baker came along. Other greats to step into the picture, the great leadoff man, Topsy Hartzell. Behind him comes another great outfielder, Danny Murphy. And our last one is Stuffy McGinnis. The master of ceremonies for the 1929-31 champs is Jimmy Dykes, who calls out Howard Emke, Jack Quinn, George Haas. And now the Detroit coach, Bing Miller. And our last one is Walter French. The two coaches of our service teams, Walter French, who coaches Army, and Navy's coach Max Bishop, meet. Max was one of the greatest of leadoff hitters. Waiting for the game to start are Cy Perkins, Jack Quinn, Max Bishop, Joe Boley, and George Mule Haas. Two opponents kidding before the game, Howard Emke and Eddie Collins. How is this for a galaxy of stars? Standing, Jack Coombs, Connie Mack, Chief Bender. Kneeling, Lefty Grove and Mickey Cochran. I know that some of you fans will remember that Grove-Cochran combination in the 1929 World Series. Now let's move our camera toward home plate for a classic baseball scene. A great manager chats with two of his former pupils who have followed in his footsteps and become great managers themselves. Jimmy Dykes, present leader of the Chicago White Sox, and Mickey Cochran, former manager of the world champion Detroit Tigers. Connie is proud indeed of these two former pupils. While the groundkeepers prepare the field for the feature of the afternoon, let's glance at some of those World and League Championship pennants that have flown from the flagstaff at Shibe Park during the period from 1913 to 1931. Our tribute to the grand old man of baseball, who in his 39 consecutive years as manager of the Athletics has brought to Philadelphia 9 pennants and 5 World Championships. The 1910 team takes the field for a workout. Russell Lena Blackburn, present A's coach, puts that $100,000 infield of Baker, Barry, Collins, and McGinnis through a pepper drill. The catcher is Patty Livingston, who gives us a fine example of a well-preserved athlete. This former Mackman is 62 years old and the daddy of 11 children. Watch Patty as he skips around that plate and pegs the old apple down to the keystone sack. Before the afternoon was over, it was conceded that Patty was one of the shining stars of the afternoon. Batter up, the game is on. Pitcher Jack Coombs and Livingston talk it over. The first batter up is Mule Haas, who starts the game rolling with a single to left field. The 1929 number 2 batter is Roger Doc Kramer, still active in the American League. He cracks one into left field, and as Topsy Hartzell goes for the ball, pulls up lame for the only casualty of the game. Kramer is credited with an inside home run as Topsy's teammate hurried to his aid and escort him from the field. 2 runs are in when Bing Miller comes to bat. He takes a couple, and then Uncle Tom goes for one and lines one out for a 2-base hit. Wrestler going for it misses. He's substituting for Hartzell, 334 feet away. Patty Livingston near home plate is elated as he gathers in the 4th foul ball of the afternoon. Throw it away, Patty. The 1910 boys take their turn at the plate, and Amos Strunk is the number 1 batter to try and outguess that famous combination of Grove and Cochran. Strunk goes out to third base. The number 2 batter, Danny Murphy, works Lefty Grove for a base on balls. This brings up Eddie Collins, and don't think old Mose doesn't bear down on his present boss. No salary cuts for Lefty because Collins goes out short to first. In the 3rd and last inning, Howard Imke, who holds the World Series strikeout record, goes to the mound for the 29 aggregation. Batting against him is Home Run Baker, and he goes out on an infield fly ball. Now Chief Bender comes in to pitch for the Oldsters, and facing him is Howard Imke, who on the first pitch ball doubles to right field. Our camera picks up Eddie Collins in a familiar pose around second base. And here is the follow-up play. Eddie runs over to take the throw from Jack Barry, who has made the putout. In the final stages of the ball game, Bender is bearing down on Bing Miller, but the Detroit coach connects for a double. It's to no avail, however, as the old-timers defeat their successors by a score of 6-4. And here he is, the granddaddy of them all, surrounded by the stars of other years who have come to Philadelphia to make Connie Mack's homecoming day one of the happiest of his career and one of the outstanding events of the baseball centennial year.